Hi everyone, I'm Sherry.
I'm Inara.
I'm Khadija.
And welcome back to the Powder Room. Okay.
Thanks for tuning in again for our second episode. The topic that we're going to be covering today is love and relationships. What to say?
Okay, let's all situate ourselves. Let's get comfortable. So the way we're going to break this episode down is that we're going to break it down to the 3 different phases.
Yep. So we're going to start with like our inception of love, like our first exposure to what love was growing up, whether it's like from all the movies we watch, TV shows, music, and then we're going to go into our own experiences with love and relationships, kind of a deep dive. And then we're going to talk about, I guess, how we see and perceive love today. And then we're going to answer some of your questions that you had for us about love.
Okay.
I'm going to pose the question to you guys. What was the first kind of I guess gateway, or what was your first exposure to like the topic of love, like growing up? It could be Barbie, it could be High School
Inara
Musical.
has this thing about Barbie movies. She collects them.
I don't collect them anymore. Thank you. No, that's a lie. I still watch Barbie movies. The favorites are anything to do with mermaids. I keep up. Thank you, Netflix, for putting that up.
My first grasp, or like maybe the first time I really thought about love, was maybe when I read books or movies. Like my favorite movie growing up was Angus Thong's Imperfect Snogging.
Mhm.
I thought like I would find a cute boy in school or like on summer vacation, and I'd meet a boy and I would like fall in love. And that was like when I was 12 or 13. Then I watched like Pride and Prejudice. No, I read the book and then I watched the movie.
I don't read.
And I was like, wow, like
I'm sorry, no, I just said I don't read.
I just started reading again.
And I was just thinking like, wow, love is so intense. Like I cannot wait to experience that. And then I watched The Notebook and it was just so explosive. So I thought that that's what love feels like when you're like swept off your feet and there's fireworks and like, in Princess Diaries where when she kisses the guy and her feet pops up. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to experience. And I think that was very confusing as a child, because when you grow up into an adult woman, you don't, it's like there's no sparks, if there's no like fireworks, intensity, you think that, oh, I'm not in love. It's like, doesn't feel right. But sometimes like the intensity and the sparks is just your anxiety and the drama. And like, I don't know, I feel like that affected the way that I viewed love.
Yeah.
Agreement.
I think for me, when I think about like growing up and
Sorry, I need to recover. Okay.
Agreement. Yeah, I think the movie I always think about is Another Cinderella Story. Like a lot of
Hilary Duff or Selena Gomez?
With Hilary Duff.
Okay.
So like the whole idea that like you're one person and you present yourself to another guy in a completely different way, in a way that you think they'll like you most. So putting on that mask, and then I don't know, and something happening and like wanting to be saved. And it's just all about the gesture. Like at the end of the movie, he like stops his football game and like runs to you and kisses you in front of everybody. Like I think that's what I thought love was, like all about the big gestures and being chosen.
I think still fine.
Okay. Like, I definitely know you still are into your big gestures. I do not find any value in them anymore.
Like I don't care if it's public or private. Obviously, sometimes too public, it's like, okay, is this for me? Is this for everyone to see what type of person you are? But I still have that dream where, maybe I still want to date an athlete, so he scores a goal.
She always talks about this.
He scores a goal, a sick goal, and he looks for me in the crowd. And he points at me, he's like, that one's for you. And everyone's like, and they frame that fucking angle of the camera to me. I'm like, yeah.
So this is like what you've always envisioned growing up, and also what
I still want to happen.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
Interesting. Very different end of the spectrum. I just feel like it's just too performative. Like these things, the big stuff don't matter.
Tell him to do it. If you watch this, whoever my partner will be, if you watch this and you do it for me, then I know. Actually, just pretend you didn't watch this and you didn't hear it. So I know you're not doing it because I asked you to do it. Because I don't want anyone to do it because I asked them to do it. I want them to do it because they just know how to do it. So just don't. Yeah.
I think apart from the big gestures, what you said was like, okay, not to overly intellectualize all of this, but I feel like the movies when the guy saves the girl,
Yeah.
it creates this like demand to be the victim.
Yeah.
Like when every movie was like, oh my gosh, the girl needs help. Oh, da, da. And so as an adult, I felt like that's what I needed to be. Like I needed to be fragile. I can't be so like independent. So in my masculinity.
But at the same time, I'm not saying, okay, now there's like pick me girls, but there are also like those girls in movies where I don't give a shit, I'm independent, I don't care, and then the guys look for her. So there's also things like that. So you have movies where it's like, oh, I need to be saved. Oh, where's my Prince Charming? And then you have the ones like, I don't care about boys, but and then they fall in love. Like what? They find someone in the end.
That's who I ask you.
Right, everyone?
The question was, what was our like impression of love growing up, right? I think it's also the relationships we see around us. I think I've always wanted someone who was as kind and soft as my dad and as patient as he is. But I feel like I was also exposed to like, maybe it's like the Asian thing to be like tough love.
Yeah.
Like my mom was really like, I love my mom if she's watching, but she was always really like tough with me in terms of like I could always do better. And I think that I internalized a lot of that toughness and viewed it as love. So when I got into my first relationship, I found that when he was tough with me, I thought that was him looking out for me. And I think that confused me as well.
Is this love? Are you a dick?
Mm-mm.
Maybe this is your way of showing love. And then convincing yourself, no, he loves me.
Yeah.
But no, he's a piece of shit.
I love that she goes into dialogue. She'll put on a performance for you.
I'm an actress.
And also, like, not just like family, but I guess friends, like the relationships you see your friends have play a role. I think that there was a point when we were like 14 or 15 when everyone started getting into relationships and had boyfriends. And I never went through that phase. Throughout school, I didn't date anybody. It was only after college when I first got into a relationship. And even then, before that, the relationships that I saw were very like codependent. Like, oh my gosh, my boyfriend has to be obsessed with me and do everything with me. And if not, then he doesn't love me. You got to put your initials on your bio. And like just small things like that I felt were very like young that I wouldn't replicate in my relationship now. One of the things that I saw my friends did around me, and they were older than I was, and they were in like longer term relationships, and they would like allow their boyfriends to tell them what to wear. And if they went out and like wore certain clothes, they would hide it in their photos that they sent to their boyfriends. And like it was very normal for them to share everything with their partners. Like the whole day they have to update them where they are, what they're doing, what they're wearing, who they're with. And if you don't update them, then you are in the wrong. And I normalized that because of the people around me. And so I applied that in my relationship, and it was hard to reverse because we both got used to it.
Yeah.
Did you guys go through that?
No. Actually. Yes and no, not like that badly, I would say. Like there were times where I felt the need like I had to, otherwise they were gonna be upset.
Like, is the relationship real? Is it like a proper relationship if you're not sharing every single detail of your lives with each other all the time?
And then when you don't, and then they start getting insecure and they think like you're lying, so you feel like the need to have to, but they should just trust you anyway. But yeah, I did go through a fair share of that.
Did you guys ever share accounts, like your passwords and all?
You did.
No.
Never. Privacy. And I never asked for theirs. I've never asked for their passwords or their usernames for anything. I mean, like, I would say so far so good. Up till now, I've never felt the need to do that. Have I looked through someone's phone?
Are we gonna be honest?
Honest. Yeah. Yes. Actually, I did. But then I told them after that. Because I caught the motherfucker. You know who you are. We're friends now, it's okay. But I was like, God fucking damn! Like, we'll get into this later.
I would say mine, just to defend myself, okay? It's giving you PTSD. Okay, just to defend myself, I didn't give him my passwords and my account because like I was scared. It was more like it was the beginning of the relationship, and I left my phone somewhere, and I wanted to look at something on Instagram that someone sent me or something. So I logged into his phone, and I was like, it's fine, you can just leave it there. So when I want to play with your phone, I can have my account there. Little did I know that he was going to go through a deep dive of like all my messages and every photo that I liked and like my search history, everything. I didn't know that was something people did. Yeah, I didn't know that was something that people did. And then it became like a norm. And then he expected me to give all my passwords. And by that point, it was like too late. I just didn't think that was something that was going to happen. I thought it was like so harmless at the time, just because like even looking through phones, I never did that. I don't think I was ever born an insecure person. I was always very like confident. It wasn't until someone did it to me that I felt that, so, oh, if he's looking through my phone, then is there something he's hiding? Should I be looking through his phone? And so that
sorry, I'm getting a bit cold.
Yeah, so then only then that I feel like insecure and felt like, okay, then I need to do this because that's what he's doing to me. So that's what I learned. But no, I don't think that was normal. I think even now at this age, sometimes I catch myself thinking these things and I'm like, oh, this is old habits. These are things that I shouldn't
catch yourself.
like, no repeating this is not normal here. And I like mentally have to stop myself.
Yeah, I think that's normal. But like, especially after being in a really rough or traumatic relationship and then being by yourself for a while and then getting into like a really normal, healthy relationship, catching yourself when you get really insecure or when you catch yourself like
cry.
it's a therapy session. Yeah, it's at least like you acknowledge that. Like some people just, you know, get insecure and then they just go off on that tangent of like enabling their insecurities and like projecting it onto their partner. But like you got to catch yourself and you know, they got to reassure you as well. It's a two-way street. So that's important. So the second part of this conversation will be talking about our own experiences with love and like our first loves, I guess. Who wants to go first?
I think mine was a very public experience. I think everyone, if not everyone, most of the people watching this already know my first relationship and my first love, and it was a very turbulent one. I always say this to everyone that I feel like every lesson I could have learned in love happened in that one relationship. Every bad thing that could have possibly happened then and there. Like, could he have done worse? I don't think so. So what I thought was love coming in was like very, very attached. Everything involved this other person. And I think because I was really impressionable, that was my first relationship. I didn't really have any example to like set it to. I think in the beginning, I thought it was like, oh my gosh, he's so obsessed with me. Like, it was almost like he was psychotic. It was, in some ways, it was because it was too much persistence for someone who didn't even really know me. I later on learned that was love bombing, and the phase of love bombing isn't long. They love bomb you enough to know that you're hooked, and then lepas tu, slowly bit by bit, the mask fell off. But I was like in too deep. I was so in love. I just didn't want to give up. I did everything I could. You know, there were points where I went against like my own morals just to make him happy.
And I think also you keep comparing him to like when you first at the start of your relationship.
Yes.
So every time he has something wrong, you're like, okay, no, this is
the person that I fell in love with.
Yeah, this was the person I fell in love with. This is not him. This is just today.
Yeah, this is his episode, whatever. You know, we would always
really in there.
Yeah, we'd always find things to blame, like the psychological issue or like the external issues with people around him. And so I would always find something else to blame apart from him, even though he was at fault. And maybe I was also a little bit at fault because I was an accomplice. I allowed it to happen, which is also wrong because I'm victim blaming now. Sorry. But yeah, walking in, I was just so I always think back. I'm gonna cry, but like I always think back about the version I was when I met this boy, the first person I ever loved, and I was like at 100%. And who I was coming out of it, I was like maybe 40% of what I was because I gave so much, and I don't think I'd ever love at that level ever again.
Do you ever wonder like how your life would have turned out or how your perception of love would have been if that relationship didn't happen the way that it did?
Yeah, I don't think I would be like, you know, I hate it when I say broken, but I do think that I have a broken view on love sometimes. I think I'm so
I know.
But she's getting better.
I'm gonna cry.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, powder room.
I always think like, oh, if I didn't meet this person, I don't think I would have like much
Learn your lesson.
as much as it was learning a lesson, I don't think anyone should have had to learn those kind of lessons.
Of course.
And like I am grateful that I learned the things that I learned, but I still think that no one should have ever experienced that.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, why am I crying so much? But I feel like if I would have never experienced it, I don't think I would have been ever as empathetic as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way I view people is so different after the relationship, because it didn't just alter the way I looked at love. I looked at just people in general like very differently. And I do have one thing that I hate, is that it affects the people that love me now. And I wish I could give them the 100% that I gave him to these people who love me today and are so like unconditional with me. But I can't, because of what happened to me. And so all I can do is just give what I have today.
Which is fine.
Which is fine, but it's so
Just
sad.
what you didn't have last time. Like, I feel like what you have today and the love you have today is still love, but it's different. Like, you've grown. You know what I mean? Like, although...
Like, what you think is broken is what we think is, like, growth.
You shall not.
Yeah.
You're telling me all my, like, overthinking doesn't kill your vibe.
But, so what? Like, if it kills people's vibe, it's like, so long as you're aware of what, like, holds you back and you're willing to be patient with yourself to, like, overcome those sort of insecurities and, like, habits that you've built over time.
Like, you're delusional, but you're not that delusional.
I'm bad.
She's kind of bad, but she's not, like, that delusional. She chooses when to be delusional.
Yeah.
I feel like when she explains her, like, brokenness and stuff like that, asks us for advice, I feel like she takes it.
Yeah.
But I do think that it made me super analytical. Like, I don't see things as simple as I used to. Now I like break it down way too much that I feel bad, because because it requires a lot of the people around me to be so patient with me, because even though it's not their job or their responsibility to fix me, they have to watch me. They have to sit there patiently as I navigate it myself. It's very different if I wasn't the word isn't damaged, but challenged. Because obviously, I think what sucks is that the decisions and the actions of someone in my past affects the people in my present who never asked for it, who didn't do anything wrong, who do no harm, but have to deal with the repercussions of someone else's actions. And I think that is so hard for me to not feel guilty about.
But that's just like unconditional love. Like, we're here on the outside, like, giving you advice.
So you guys don't get annoyed?
No, what the heck?
I get annoyed when you don't listen. Not when you're breaking down. I'm not gonna get annoyed. Like, I'm not gonna kick you when you're down.
Yeah.
We're here to support you, and that's why we're your best friends.
Sometimes when I overthink and I don't know who, like, when I try to explain things to Nara and she just looks at me like this. Like, am I putting too much on her plate? I don't know. Like, sometimes I don't know if you're okay with it.
I'm just digesting or thinking about other things, and then I go back. I'm like, sorry, what? No, but no, it's never too much. I think we're always here to listen.
Okay, you're gonna go then.
My turn? First? Yeah. So I had, I never dated in school. Yeah, so other people were being, like, insecure about, like, boys and relationships. I was insecure about myself. Like, I looked like a little boy for the longest time. So I wasn't worried about looking for, a partner or whatever all my other friends are doing. They're developing. I was not developed yet. I was still a child. Anyway, fucking hell. I got my first boyfriend when I was 18. Yeah, so that lasted like 5 months. So that was my first boyfriend. Don't know how I did that. Do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. We're friends now. But God, I think we can both admit it was a fucking stupid relationship. Like,
okay, but why was it stupid?
Why was it stupid? First of all, he was pining for me for so long, and I kept turning him down. I was like, no, I've known you, like, since forever. I look at you kind of like my brother, that kind of thing. But then he kept trying. And then, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should give him a chance. And then he was doing all these big gesture things. Like for my birthday, he got me a bouquet of roses. And then when he asked me to be his girlfriend, he did that thing, flowers on the bed, you know. It was a family holiday, okay? But anyway, whatever. He came into my room and he put like flowers in my bed. He set up camera, like, will you be my girlfriend? I was like, oh my God, this has never happened to me before. I see this online, on social media, on YouTube. I'm like, oh my God, it's finally happening to me. Like,
You're like, yep, this is love.
yeah, this
what
is
I've been
love. Like,
seeing.
oh my God. Now I definitely do like him so much. Obviously, I didn't love him at this, like, immediately.
You're a child.
I was a child, but I mean, I always loved him as a friend because we were friends for so long already. Then we did that, and I was like so happy, so easy. Our families got along, wanted to hang out like every day. And then, like, literally, like a month or 2 months after, he told me that he liked someone else. And I was like, you tried for me for so long, you got me. After 1 month, 2 months, you decide to
I'm
tell
just gonna
me
like somebody else.
you like somebody else. But yeah, so I got really upset. I was like, oh shit, is this what like heartbreak feels like?
Mm.
Because like I let my guard down. I finally accepted you. I let you in my life. I let you become my boyfriend. I'm so happy. I'm so almost like in love in that I probably already said I love you by then, I think. Because I thought like, okay, this is love. It's my first love. My God, I love this guy so much. Then he told me that. I was like heartbroken. I was crying. Was I begging for him back? Not that he left me. He was like, no, I'm not gonna leave you. I'm just telling you because I shouldn't lie to you. And then that made me feel like, oh yeah, he's not lying to me. He's telling me the truth. You know what I mean? And then I was just like, nah, he'll get over it. So I thought he did. Moved on. 4 months later, cheated on me. And I still forgave him. Still forgave him.
Okay, why do you think you forgave him?
Because I loved him. Because I thought I loved him. I was like, okay, honest mistake.
It's so wild now.
So wild. For that.
It's funny, we're all like still friends, and like when I look back at this relationship, I feel like I forget that he happened.
Yeah, sometimes I forget too. But yeah, so I thought, you know, that was my first love. But looking at it now, 2 more relationships later, with every relationship I've had, I'm like, okay, no, this is love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, okay,
Every
this is
relationship
love.
she's had, I felt. Don't you feel like it was like all very different kind of love?
All three very different. I've only been in 3, and all 3 were super different. Like my second boyfriend, I was like, okay, fuck the first one. I wasn't in love. This is love.
Oh.
You know? And then the third one, I was like, fuck. Okay, no, maybe I was in love with the second one, but like this feels different. Like I'm getting things I never got in my first. So that's what I felt like with all my relationships moving forward. So yeah, that was like my first experience with love.
Your turn. My turn. Okay. Well, my first serious relationship was with a boy that I met in school. So I dated in high school, like when I was 14, 15. But it was a lot. It was my it's my first relationship, and it went for a really long time.
Like you actually loved?
I mean, looking back on it now, I probably didn't love him. It was what I knew love to be at the time. So again, like Sherry said, like I was really impressionable, just very fresh-eyed. Yeah, I was like really smitten over him, and he was with me, and I think it went really well for the first year, and then the moment I moved to Melbourne, it just went downhill.
So it was LDR?
Yeah. So I was 14 or 15, and then that next year I moved to Melbourne. And then we were like, okay, like let's do long distance. But from then on, it went downhill. So I was just coming back for holidays and then find out things.
Did you cry the first time?
Yeah.
And then by the 5th time, did you cry?
It became like competitive. Whew. Like I had to compete.
Oh my God.
Like that's how fucked up I was.
That is not how I would have imagined you reacting.
Yeah, right. Because
you were so young. I mean,
yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So that's why it's important to talk about this relationship, because it really
affected the way
me.
Wow, okay, I didn't know. Okay, let's compare stuff. Okay, with cheating, for me, after the first time I found out, I felt like my soul left my body and it never came back.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even think of competing because I was like, I lost.
Yeah.
Because he won. He broke me. And then I think I went through a spiral psychologically. I didn't even realize the effect that it had. Don't you think that you never came back the same person after the first time?
100%. You're no longer that innocent, happy-go-lucky girl.
Do you think the competition was more of a way to conceal like your anger? It was a way to direct your
It
energy.
was also because it was long distance. It was like he made me feel like, okay, well, she was here, or like she was giving me the attention while you were out doing this.
Ooh.
And then it made me feel like, okay, so how can I be the best girlfriend but also do it while like being away? How do I compete with these other girls who have the advantage of like being there with him?
Okay, for me, like in context, I don't know if I explained this earlier when I was talking about my past relationship, because like why I said that it was all the lessons I needed to learn were in that one was because so like I was in a violent relationship, a physically abusive one, and I guess just basically I survived domestic violence, and it's very weird to say out loud, but yeah, so it was a physically abusive relationship. But I always say this to everyone, I think that the psychological impact of cheating was way worse. I could have taken 1,000 more punches over that one experience of cheating, because I don't think that you come out the same person. I think it alters your brain.
Yeah.
If I could compare the pain that I felt the day, and if you were 14,
you're literally developing. Like I was literally developing.
Did it
I was an
affect
adolescent.
the way you viewed yourself as a woman?
Yeah. It's the worst time to go through anything like that, because then you isolate yourself. Because everyone's telling, because the cycle was like, goes really well, and then there's an obstacle. The obstacle was me moving away. And then there's the cheating, and then there's the lying, and then there's like them making you feel like you're not being a good enough girlfriend, and then comparing yourself to the other girls, and then the getting back together and not being together.
Don't you think that experience made you a version of you that you didn't like? Like you were bitter,
so
competitive,
ugly. Just so ugly.
I have never hated a woman. I never ever feel competitive. I don't feel insecure. I never felt the need to compare myself to someone else. But once the cheating happened, suddenly I hated girls for no reason.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like their fault. It was just because I knew that this was going to be a problem and he was going to go after this person, but not their fault, you know?
Yeah.
As long as they didn't reciprocate it lah. But
for no reason, you find yourself feeling annoyed and like angry with this girl who you don't even know. She might not have done anything even, or this guy isn't even talking to her yet. For some reason, you're already
you're just preparing yourself.
You're preparing
mentally.
yourself. Like, okay, I feel like he's gonna target this girl next. So you know, and you know what? Most of the time, we get it right. We get it right.
It's trusting your gut. Your gut's always
insane.
right.
Let me just say, whoever came after me, I saw it coming. Like years ahead, I think I already saw it coming. And I feel like, I think even today in my current, I see myself doing that. Like if we were like walking somewhere, or like I'm on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I think this is the kind of girl that my partner would kind of go for, and I like catch myself thinking these things. I'm like, no, they're not the same people.
Yeah.
This is not going to repeat again. And it's so hard because sometimes I feel like if I keep thinking about it, it's going to happen.
And then like you think you're manifesting it, but you're not. And then when you call it and it actually happens, you feel so much worse. You're like, oh my God.
Do you feel like responsible?
Sometimes I feel responsible. Sometimes I'm like, did I jinx it? Did I put this out in the universe and that's why he did it? Or is he doing this because he knew I was insecure about it? So he went
it would like
and
strike
did it
harder
just to make it hurt more. So yeah, so I see all these girls and be like, okay, yeah, looks like someone he'd go after. And when they do, it's like the most like, you know, heartbreaking.
You don't want to
shit.
be right.
You don't want to be right.
So how has it changed the way that you love now, or you view love now?
I think it took me a while to recover from that.
Ended what year? How old were you?
I was 18.
So 4 years of that nonsense.
Like on and off, right?
On and off, yeah.
I'm surprised you're like a relatively centered woman.
But it took a lot.
I'll be super unhinged.
It took a lot to get there. A lot of other failed relationships because I just like didn't heal properly. But yeah, I ended that. I had the guts to finally end that relationship when I was 18, and then I finally gained my self-confidence because it's like, you know, there were other guys who wanted to be with me and like take me out on dates and like treat me well, and I was like, okay, I do have value. Like,
people
I am
me.
feminine, I am beautiful. Like, I finally like during that summer like gained my self-love back in a way. And then I got into another serious relationship, and that was a bit turbulent because I didn't heal from my last relationship. And now I'm in another relationship, and it's great. It's healthy, and I've done a lot of the work.
I feel like even though you're in a relationship, you have so much room, and he gives you so much room to be reflective and do your inner work.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes it's just about like you go through something like that, and you got to make the mistakes to realize like, fuck, I'm like fucked up.
I mean, there's two ways that people go through it. Some girls or some dudes, they use it and they build a victim complex, and they go like, well, I can do all this because someone did this to hurt me, and I'm hurt, and I get to hurt other people, and like, you know, they do all these things that
I'm broken, so I can do it.
Like, yeah, and then they kind of like self-medicate. They use, you know, maybe alcohol, maybe going out, maybe just dating, and like you become a serial dater because you need to constantly fill that hole up, and you feel empty if no one else is distracting you. But there's that way, and there's also people who do the work and sit down and go like, I did something bad, and I should have never let this happen, and now I'm going to do the work to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Which is not easy.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. She did it. Going through it. Yeah, so you guys can do it too. Just sit down, journal.
Talk to your friends, go to therapy, be by yourself.
Also, kind of know what's good advice and what's not good advice.
Oh my god, only take advice from people who
have relationships that you'd want.
Yeah. So, how do we view love today?
Okay, so for me, love today, I think for maybe the last 3 years, I think only a year and a half, like a year after my breakup, did I actually find like my foot on the ground. In that 1 year, it was just up and down, up and down. And then lepas I was kind of on my own for a long while actually. I just did not want anyone in my space. I craved the company of my friends. When I was in my really bad relationship, I remember just like when I thought about getting out of it, I thought like I cannot wait to be around my friends, and I cannot wait to be a good friend to people and just be around that kind of love that was unconditional. Because you got to realize like with romance and couple love, it is a little bit conditional. You both serve a purpose. But with friendship love, you don't serve a purpose. You don't have to be useful to me for me to love you. So I want it to be around that. So for like a couple years, I just didn't date. You know, no matter how good of a guy came into the picture, I don't think I would have opened my heart to it. Did all the healing work, whatever. And there was a point where I actually felt like maybe love wasn't a real thing. I think at one point I kept telling all of you like, you know, like love isn't real. So you know what? I'm gonna marry my friends, and like, you know, I'll marry you as a friend. And I thought like, okay, just like if I make it a business deal where we take care of each other and you can have fun outside of it. And I thought, I wouldn't get hurt in that way. It's safer. I'm not putting my heart on the line. And obviously things have changed, and I think that going through really bad relationships and still having the heart to like put yourself in that space and be vulnerable, you must be a really strong person, because it's brave. So scary, and it's like it takes courage. Don't pet me like it takes courage. I feel like love now is what brings you peace. Like when you're with that person, you should not feel worried or scared or like, yeah, the fireworks are fun, but I think what's more fun is just knowing that you can rely on them. Yeah, like I think the number one value I want now in a man is reliability. Like a lot of guys can come in with the money, can come in with the looks, can come in with the fun, but at a time when I need help, will you show up, right? So I feel like that is love now. Just like knowing that I can rely on you for the rest of my life.
Agreement.
Your turn.
You should go first. I need to think about this one.
Okay, what do I think of love today? Well, I think it's finding like your romantic best friend. Like it's doing nothing with them. It's making sure that you have that space between you to be yourselves and to not feel judged, and to be called out when you're doing something wrong. constructive criticism, because it's all about, because you're going to be with this person forever. Ideally, you want them to, let you know when you're not being a good person, or when you're not on the right path. Right. Yeah. Or when you're not treating them right in the relationship. They're your best friend. You're going to be around them all the time. It's important that you're with someone who tells you how it is and just loves you unconditionally, same values, and that you have fun together. That's my requirements for love.
Wow, so beautiful. I mean, agreement. Agreement. Yeah, so obviously, fine, maybe not. So obviously, I'm not in a relationship right now.
I can see you also.
Oh, you want to see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, whether I'm in a relationship or I'm not, I love. Like Sherry, for the longest time, she's like, I don't believe in love, blah, blah, blah. And me, heartbreak, no heartbreak. Girl. I'm just like, I love. Every time I watch a romantic movie, I'm like, yeah, that could happen to me.
We used to always get into debates because I was just like, okay, in a marriage, there's gonna come a point where men will cheat. Like the temptation is there. There are more women than men. Logically, who wouldn't? The chances are there. And she'd always be like, no, real love wouldn't.
Yeah, don't go for assholes like that, law. But in the end, you don't know, right? Sometimes. But I would like to think that I'm gonna end up with a man who treats me right. He's loyal. Doesn't have to make me worry. I don't have to be insecure. And I don't want them to be insecure too. Trust. Oh, yep, fix my hair. Trust. What do I say? Trust, loyalty.
Someone you can laugh with because you.
Yeah, God. Yeah, they need to make me laugh. Performance. They can perform for me, for fun. Oh shit. Perform. I mean, comedian vibes. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not performing. I don't know what you're thinking.
When I say perform, I mean you don't have to pretend to be the sweetest, hottest girl. Yeah. Just yourself. Just be you.
Just be me, and I want them to be themselves. In all our authentic selves. Yeah. I just, like I said in the first podcast, I just want to be able to be myself, and they should love me for it. And absolutely. I would love them for it. And how they get on with my friends, my family. I love family. I'm a big family girl. I think we're all big family girls.
Yeah.
And watching them interact with your family it's always so nice. So every time I watch movies or I see other couples in real life and how everyone is they just all love each other. It's so nice to see. But yeah, I'm a daddy's girl, and what Sherry said at the start, sometimes you look for a guy the way your dad treats you, you know, you look for that. And I think maybe for guys, they look like mommies, how their mom treated. So you look for a woman like your mom. You look for a man like your dad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes we look for qualities like that, which I don't think is wrong. But we also have to remember nobody's the same. You're not going to find your dad. That's weird. You're not going to date your dad. But they can have good qualities like your dad. You know what I mean? You get it. You get it. If you don't, just comment. I'll explain it to you or something.
She'll DM
Call me. I'll let you know what I mean. But yeah. And yeah. Right? Am I done?
I think
yeah. I also think at this age, what has changed a lot was I used to have a list.
Of the boxes they have to tick.
Not just boxes you have to tick. I even had a no list, things I would not tolerate and would not accept. It was a very long list, and it was as stupid as if he wore a specific cologne or if he was a pilot. I don't know. I have something against pilots because I always think they're gonna cheat on me when they fly.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just had a really ridiculously long list of things that I didn't want to accept, but that was just me being me. I was just being annoying, and at this age, I realized you really cannot decide who you're gonna end up with. The person that you end up loving might not even have half the qualities that you want, but I think like this, it's like this on a spiritual level. If you're
you align.
to me, it's that if I connect with you, that is so difficult. Connection is so hard to
You
find
can't fake it.
in this time. Like people are constantly going on dates, trying to meet people, trying to force this connection. And if you just happen to find it and it finds you, like who cares?
Okay, now we're gonna be answering some of your questions that you have about love and relationships. The first one being, okay, what is the biggest turnoff in a guy? We can do
I can just say whatever.
personality
We
traits.
can just do whatever's on the top of our head.
Okay. Being rude.
A cocky attitude.
I hate that. I know too many absolute
It says so much.
just like that.
Name dropping. If you do that, it's out. I
Yeah,
leave straight
come on.
away.
Just be nice. It doesn't cost anything to be nice.
Being like, I'm like, what are you trying to prove, bruh? I know names too.
I can list them down too, man. But I'm not going to. I don't have to.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is paying for OnlyFans considered cheating?
For us,
Yes.
it would be yes.
Sometimes they have OnlyFans for people who cook food and stuff.
Okay, well,
Oh.
OnlyFans in the
In the sense that you're
sexual
thinking
arena.
about,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that's cheating.
but I do know there are other people who might be okay with that because it's like, oh,
Like
you know,
to each their own, but if my partner downloaded OnlyFans and was like paying a subscription to like see another girl's ass, like yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
that's
exactly
weird.
loyal.
That's
Okay.
weird.
What are our love languages?
Can we guess each other's?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, wait, are we talking about how we like to receive it or how we like to give it?
Give it. Receive it.
Receive
Receive
I
it.
think. Okay.
I don't know why. Khadija's one. Receive. I think it's quality time, but I don't know.
Yeah. She looks like a quality time girl. And like based on all the gifts she's received, I think she does accept gifts. Not like everybody accepts gifts, but
More like expect. It's not like I expect.
yeah, you don't expect it, but like you really
Appreciate it, yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know? And what else is there?
And ours, an act of service girl.
Me?
But I also think you're like a quality time girl too.
Actually, with every partner I had, I do the test again and it changes all the time. So am I being true to myself when I answer these
I
questions?
think it just means you're evolving. Like
Yeah.
your needs when it comes to love is always changing.
Yeah, you're
So,
finding
like-
new things.
So like with my first partner, I found that I needed words of affirmation because I never got enough. You know,
Yeah.
with my second partner as well. With my third, it wasn't words of affirmation. Like I got that a lot. Then it started to be other things. But now, like I recently did the test, and they're all equal.
Mm.
You know, I think
I've
we
never
all
heard you
I've
bit
never
of
heard that
everything.
result before.
Yeah, mine. They're literally all like 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Yes. So it's really weird.
No, I noticed it's acts of service because when people do things for you, you macam,
Mm.
you did them for me. You always do that.
Yeah, I love gifts too.
Okay, yes, she's a gift girl.
Yeah, you are.
But it's more the thought. If you
thought.
Like I think it's more so for you, like if you're talking about something that you want for a really long time and then they get it for you, it's like
Yeah, you could get me a stone, a pebble, and it.
I've
means
gotten her a
something.
pebble from Kahani. She didn't keep it though. She gave it back.
Yeah, she didn't ask permission
Okay.
from the
The
river
river.
people.
I think Sherry is an act of service.
I like when people do things for me because it makes me feel like, oh, everybody wants to take care of me.
Like sometimes she forgets to eat, and I realize when people like cook for her or give her food, she's like,
Like, you want me to survive? You want me to stay alive? I'm like, I would say when people tell me ask me if I've eaten, that's a love language. Just showing up. I always say this to you guys.
Yeah.
It's like less what you say, more like just being there for me, and you don't have to like do everything or do anything. I just kind of want to know that you'd be there. Yeah. Next question.
Do you want to know about your partner's past?
No, I'm already like going.
Yeah, I already knew you were gonna say. No.
'Cause I think that I have a very, very colorful imagination, and
"You think people are?"
and obviously I have very bad trust issues, and I always like think about the worst things. Even though a person can be so good, my mind would be like, "Well, you never know." So
You lying to me?
Yeah.
Are you being fake nice to me?
yeah, I become Inara sometimes. Like I can hear her voice in my head where you pickle, and so just for the sake of my mental health, I do not need like additional characters to be set into my story in my head. Like I just don't need to be given the resources or the material to get kind of worked up. So no.
What about you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, for my relationship now, I like to be aware of like everything you've ever done.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want there to be any surprises, and like same with him. Like he would like to know everything, not like forcefully know everything, but like
Okay.
things you need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, where I would draw the line is like I do need to know so that I don't like bump into someone or interact with someone and not realize there was like previous history, especially if the history was bad.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just don't want to know anything.
Fair. Touche. For me, I mean, like, obviously, when you date someone, I'm not expecting to know everything at the start. As your relationship grows, like, you find out, like, more things. And, like, I feel like to fully, like, trust your partner, you kind of have to tell each other.
Because you just don't want any surprises.
Yeah, you don't want any surprises. Like, I wanna know. And, like, maybe you did something bad in the past, like, then that's up to you whether you want to choose to be insecure about it or trust that they're not like that anymore. And I think that's like a relationship. You learn how to trust that they're not going to be like that. And if they do, then you know it's a pattern. Then you know you need to chow or like reevaluate. So I do think that it's kind of important to know their past, not their whole life story. Maybe.
I think it's also important to know like if they think it's important as well. Like if they don't think it's anything, then like whatever, lah. But like
you don't care about my past. You don't want to know what I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
You don't care about me.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Okay, I want to know what is your point of view about situationships? What do you think about them?
I don't believe in them.
Sorry, what do you mean when you don't believe in them?
Like I mean, like how long are you a situationship for? Like I don't believe in the, like I see it as like you're talking, and then like you're seeing each other, and then you're dating, and then you're boyfriend girlfriend. Like I don't think there's like a situationship in between.
Situationship to me means the phase before you become boyfriend and girlfriend. A situationship means maybe you never got to the point where you became boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just a phase that never got to progress into
because like do you ever hear people say, oh, I've been in a situationship for 2 years?
Okay, no, that's weird.
That's when I'm like, weird. Okay, well, I don't
that's
know what
fake
that
news,
means. Right?
I would say everything before like long-term committed relationships is a situationship, which I'm like things that didn't fully develop, and I feel like they're necessary. I feel like they kind of brought out certain things that I needed to like recognize before I got into a long-term relationship.
Sure. Well, I mean,
have you ever been in a situation? I don't think you've been in one.
Come on. I've never really dated around. I seem to only date people I know.
Yeah, we've only really dated friends. Oh, I don't think I've ever.
Be a bad thing.
I don't think I've ever been romantically involved with someone who wasn't my friend before. All of them were my friend before. But yeah, I felt like they were like detrimental to the plot. Like it's good character development.
I mean, although I don't think maybe I did, but I enjoyed watching my friends go through them. Like, my God, what happened? Tell me.
I just feel like it's very obvious when it's a situationship because it's just too much. You like need everyone's opinion, but then when it's like a legitimate relationship, you kind of just navigate it on your own.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't ever want to be in a situationship. I'll only really date someone if I think that I'd be in a relationship.
I don't think you ever think it is a situationship when you enter it. But I'm grateful.
If it doesn't work out, then you say, "Oh yeah, that was a situation."
But I'm very, very grateful for like every person, like for every person that played a role into who I became, into the person that I am today. I feel like I'm very lucky because every person that I had a situationship with, I am very much still friends with. Like I don't have beef with anyone.
How to win Khadijah's heart? You can't.
Okay, I tell you how. Be fair us.
My boyfriend has a girl best friend. Is it necessary? Well,
to me, I don't think there's anything wrong with having, like, for me, if I was gonna have guy best friends, if my partner was gonna have girl best friends, but obviously there's a boundary.
You know those TikToks of girls?
Those are like pick me girls.
POVs who are like, oh my God, you're Jake's girlfriend. Oh my God, yeah, Jake and I have been best friends since we were sixth
none of
grade.
that shit.
I think it's also, I feel like a really good thing to kind of like measure it by is look at the friendships he has around him before you get into a relationship. If he macam, how do I explain this? Like, if female friendships are a norm around him, then yeah. But if female friendships are not normal around him, then it's not a female friendship. Then that means it's a failed relationship. Like, it's a failed talking stage. That's how I see it. Because I would say the guys in our life are like a lot of my guy best friends. Female friendships are so normal. Like, we all have friends that are of the opposite gender. It's not taboo. It's not uncomfortable. We have very good, healthy friendships. But there's also like a side of the world where female friendships and guy friendships are not normal, and I can tell there's a difference.
Yeah.
Ken?
I mean, I think it's different if suddenly they have
He
a
had-
new...
Yeah, if he would suddenly had a new one, then I would.
Then you'd be
suss it
like,
out.
oh, where
Yeah.
did you come from?
Yeah.
But if it's like dah lama before you, and
Okay,
it's not like
then.
suspicious,
And you don't get sus. It's so
you
easy.
can pick up the
you can just
vibes.
tell.
Maybe not after the first time, but after like a few times, you'll know.
Someone asked, do you agree when people say we can't be in a relationship if we don't love ourselves first? I think you can be in a relationship, but it's not going to be a good one.
I was just gonna say that, like, a lot of people are like, no, like, you're never gonna be fully healed, but you need to do the work, or else you're not gonna be a pleasant person to be around. I feel like when you're around people, can you tell when you feel like they've done the work, if they're like self-reflective, or when they're right?
You can also tell, like, based on like if they're in a relationship and how they talk about their partner, or how they talk about like how they spend their time together, like stuff like that. You can tell when they're like unhappy or when they're like really happy.
I feel like I'm very sensitive to people's energies
because we've been through it as well.
Again, so like, you know,
So
you can vibe. You can. I think there was this TikTok that I was watching, and this girl said that that when someone has gone through a certain level of trauma, she finds the most beautiful people she's met with the most beautiful energies are people who have gone through a lot of trauma, and that's because they've done the work and they've seen all these things, and they've reached a level of like self-reflection that most people will not have to go through because they went through all that trauma. And I feel like I can sense it when people are not willing to look at themselves. And it's always like blaming other people. It's a lot of negative talk. It's a lot of like, they live in a very weird bubble,
or they're just like traveling on autopilot. They're not really like thinking about anything. They're just taking each day.
And I can rub off, like, when I'm talking to people who are not self-aware or who do not, it drains me. And I feel tired when I talk to them. Want to ask a question, Teddy?
Sometimes your partner can help you get to that point, but it's not their responsibility. You know, if they want to help you, they can help you, but you can't rely on them for that. Like, you have to do the work on your own. And if you're really like, down in dumps, like you hate yourself, I don't think you should be in a relationship, because
you're just avoiding the real problem.
Yeah, and then you expect way more from your partner. You expect them to give all the love that you can't even give yourself.
And then when they're gone, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? You're gonna blame yourself again. You're gonna dig a
just gonna look for someone else.
I feel like the most difficult people for me to be around, and no hate, because it could just be a coincidence, but more like people who are serial daters. Like, we get out of a relationship, there's another relationship, and then another relationship is another relationship. It's like, when do you have time to sit down and breathe and think about, what did I do wrong in the last one? How could I have been a better partner? How could I
recover from the last relationship?
And like, their thought process goes to like, I need to find someone else, and they always do.
Like,
but does it work out? Not necessarily.
And then they hate their partners. These are the type of people that go into their relationship and then they hate their partners because they're projecting.
Okay, so how to forgive yourself and just not hate your ex who cheated on you and was shitty towards you?
Go first, Kadita.
I think it takes time. It's not gonna happen overnight. I think it's grieving. You have to like grieve the relationship, grieve who you were, grieve who they were, and then you get to a point where you're like, I guess you kind of forgive them, because I thought, are you crying?
She's like, oh my gosh, I'm saying something. I was like, did I trigger?
No. I don't get triggered. What?
Okay.
What was I saying?
It takes time.
Yeah, like, I think you'll get to a point where you just feel like you need to forgive them because you need to move on, and if you hold on to that like anger and resentment that you have towards them, it's like, how do you progress in your life?
Do you think you forgive yourself? Because this question is like, how to forgive yourself, like in that situation.
For like allowing it to happen.
Yeah, but personally, I'm like, I'm why would why would I forgive myself?
I'm on a different end of you.
You know what I mean?
Like, why would you forgive yourself?
Like,
for...
I didn't do anything wrong. Like, for me, like, damn girl, you wasted your time. Like, if
It
this
could
was
be-
me.
No, the way you view it, that's a healthy person's mindset.
Yeah.
And someone who's gone through something really, really bad. My journey up and down. It's been 4 years since I let all that bad shit happen to me, and I still find myself not knowing where I stand. Some days I say to you like I don't forgive. Some days I do forgive. But I don't think that you are obligated to forgive the person who did it to you because they're not entitled. They're not entitled to that. They did what they did. You can not forgive them if you don't want to. But I think what's hard is forgiving yourself, because what I always this is like work that we do with therapists, which I don't know if anyone has done it, but like you look at a picture of yourself as a kid,
Yeah.
and you say sorry to her, because I think that's what broke my heart the most, was that I put myself there, and I hurt I hurt child Sherry, baby Sherry, because baby Sherry was so excited to fall in love, and I let her get hurt like that. And I think that that's the best work you can do, is like sit down there, look at a picture of baby you, and say what you want to say. Apologize to her, say you're sorry, tell her like she deserved better. She's gonna get so much more love in her life. I think that's the best work. You cry so much. You cry so much when you do that kind of stuff, and yeah, I don't think they're obligated. You don't need to forgive them if you don't want to. I think that some days I still hate the person, and some days I don't care. But I don't think it's necessary for me to even have a conclusion. Like I can feel however I feel.
Yeah. Okay, then. Damn. Okay, she opened my mind. She opened my eyes. So okay, so let's say this guy cheated on me. How do you say it? Like hypothetically, he cheated on me, and then I forgive him, and then he does it again and again and again. And after that relationship is over, I would forgive myself eventually, because why I would question myself, like, why did I put myself through all of that? Like, I could have left the first time, but I didn't. I stayed, I stayed, I stayed. And then you feel like shit, like, you blame yourself, like, I could have left, so, all of this is on me. He cheated on me because I let him, and I kept forgiving him. So you make yourself feel like shit. But I think in the end, you should be able to forgive it.
I feel
Yeah,
it's
like,
a
you got
testament,
out.
yeah.
And, like, now you're aware, like, you wouldn't do that again. And, it's okay. You can forgive yourself, because you don't want to put yourself through that again. You've learned.
I think you have so many like selves to forgive.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
oh my gosh, that was what I wrote in my entry, the one that I did for Princess Diaries, where I said that in growing up is missing the versions of yourself that you're saying
it's
goodbye
grieving
to.
them.
That's so crazy, because it's like I always think about the moon, and how the moon, it's the same moon that's witnessed so many different versions of us.
Yeah.
And that's so wild.
And the sun.
Ah, fuck the sun, man, the moon. The moon sees me cry all the time, because I cry at night.
Yeah.
She's a werewolf.
But yeah, I think that to wrap it all up, love is actually, I think it takes a lot of courage to love, and to always be open to it, no matter like the challenges and the pain that you feel. I think that a lot of the questions we got were heavy on like infidelity. There was a lot of conversations about cheating, insecurities, situationships. Like situationships are so complicated. It does affect your self-esteem if you don't really know where you're going, and whether you think, oh my gosh, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? But I think anyone who still chooses to love after seeing and doing everything, feeling everything that they have, you're like kind of strong.
I think we all deserve it at the end of the day. We're all human, and we all deserve love and kindness and like fruitful relationships. So
Okay, so wait, last question. Do you guys believe in like true love? Like,
of course I do.
Yeah. I think.
Do you believe in soulmates? Oh, that's a different topic. I believe in like multiple soulmates.
Yeah.
But yes, I do believe in true love. Do I believe in soulmates? I think if you're lucky, you find the person. There are what, 7-8 billion people now in the world. That's a lot of people to go through. But if you do find your soulmate, because I do believe they exist, then great. But if you don't,
Maybe
Yeah,
your
I'm
friends
sorry.
are your soulmate. What did you say? She said, I'm sorry. No, maybe your friends are your soulmates.
yeah, sometimes not your partner, it can be your friends. And then you see those stories about people they're together, and then of that their partner passes away when they're older,
Yeah.
and then years later they find someone else.
Yeah.
Like I think that's so sad. Like, oh, segue.
Segue.
Like if I was with someone and then I died, right? I was okay. No, sorry. If you guys were with someone,
Yeah.
and then you guys married and you're old, let's say you're 60 and then you die, would you be okay with
And
them?
we died?
Yeah, we died.
Okay.
Would you be okay with your partner remarrying later on? Not immediately, like 5 years later.
No, I'm not okay.
Fair?
Like in my human form, no. But like I don't know how I would feel like
As a ghost?
As a ghost. Like up there.
I mean, yeah. So like maybe
No, because
Like, are you just kinder when you're up there?
My question is, so when he kaputs,
Yeah,
is he choosing you or is he choosing
yeah.
her?
So that is the thought
Oh.
that will make me go. But yeah, stories like that. Segue back to what I was saying.
Do you believe in soulmates?
Do you believe in soulmates? To a certain degree.
I believe in soulmates.
I just believe
now
in like
you believe in soulmates.
I
The other
think
day-
I just believe in like having your person.
Yeah.
I believe in having
Whatever
your
that
peoples,
means. Yeah.
where you feel at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be your partner, it can be your friends.
Like
Love doesn't just have to be relationships, it can be platonic relationships, it can be friendships.
I'm so happy. We're happy too. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching our episode.
Stay tuned for our next episode.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah.
Oh, we're in our pajamas.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you.